all, set us in a little bit of context. Just up here to the top, this is Colchester, and just down here we have Malden. So we've got Blackwater estuary running left to right on the screen, and the Colne running top to bottom. The darker black line, that just indicates the high tide line, and the contours are the extreme low tide marks. So this is kind of the exposed surface that we can reach, the limit of which we can reach perhaps a few times each year. So, why are we on Mersea Island? I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown of the story so far, I guess. We had the last 2 years of the first phase of the system project, from about late 2016 up until the end of that. We worked quite a lot on Mersea Island and the surrounding estuary areas, and we found over 8 new archaeological sites, and when I say sites, by that we mean quite expansive areas, and I'll show you those on a map soon. We established 70 new features, some of them, a lot of them we're starting to try to be able to identify, but it mainly consists of a variety of wetland archaeology, so lots of timbers, stakes, wattles, hurdles. We'll look at some of those. It was quite well attended by the people that came along. We had over 700 residents and grottles. Grottles, I think, is the name of people not from Mersea Island who visit Mersea Island, as called by the locals. They came along to attend over 25 events, and the last one we put on the island, we only had 200 folks turn up for that. So it's really popular on the island. It's really captured people's imagination. And we do have a really fantastic and very dedicated volunteer team on the island who provide an awful lot of support on the ground, and in the libraries, doing research, that kind of thing. So we're really quite fortunate. Just to give you an idea then of the features, what does all of that work kind of mean on a map? All of these various points are the features that I'm talking about. This is data that's been collected by our volunteers. They're all different colours, they all represent different survey sessions, different periods between late 2016 and 2 weeks ago that we've been recording and collecting data. Lots of different colours. If you zoom in on this map, it looks like one of the world's most complex twister boards. So it's really quite a spread of sites and features. The red marks that you see here, these are taken from the National Mapping Project. They're Saxon fish traps that we have in the Blackwater estuary, quite famous for them, and there are quite a number of them. They're actually quite large structures, some of them several hundred metres in length. So we've been finding all bits and bobs like that. We've been adding to this data set that Citizen started with, the baseline data set. Just to show you a few models then, and the types of things that we have been looking at. We found, of course, things like this humongous mammoth tusk, which was way out on the foreshores. That came out, and recently we may have had something else associated with this tusk coming out in the storms. We have had, and we continue to look at, things like red hills. There are a great number of red hills on the Blackwater estuary. These are salt production sites that date from sort of around about the Iron Age and a little either side of that. And we have these actually colossal structures in the case of this one. This is about 20 metres in diameter. And what we're able to do, what we've been looking at over the past few years, is the rate of erosion of this red hill, the way that that's proceeding back towards the seawall. So that's another type of site that we're looking at. And we have things like this. We have an awful lot of things like this, actually. These are wattle hurdles that we have. Find them generally just sitting on the surface of the Mersea foreshore. They're quite fragile things. If you look at them, they're actually resting just on the clays there, and they're actually probably the most fragile remains that we deal with, and they start to wash away quite quickly, and they're sort of receptive, or sort of not receptive, they're the opposite of that, to storms. They're actually quite damaged by them. So, talking of storms, one of the things that I was going to kind of chat to you originally about was about red hills and our work to map these, but I thought it would be remiss of me not to sort of discuss the opportunities that have come up on the back of Storm Ciara, because we went out to visit Mersea again and had a look around, and it has changed considerably. This is a video taken from inside. The seawall is behind this lovely garden wall that you're looking at on the bottom. I think it was lapping over the seawall just at this point, but this is on the back of quite large storm surges, tidal surges related to Storm Ciara, and these was quite damaging for the foreshore and the archaeology. So that's the view inside. Skip onto this is the view outside. So we go. miles an hour when we were out about looking at this kind of stuff, but it was nice and sunny, so that's not too bad. So what did it do? What damage did it do? Well, let's look at perhaps I suppose the most famous, if you will, site that we have on Mersea Island, which is a Bronze Age trackway that was discovered by oystermen in 2017. This image is taken from when we went to clean, record and lift those remains. And just between the two ranging rods that you can see just here, and this is where our trackway timbers were. These things took 2 meters long. Have another slide from there, but looking at it from this angle, that's 2017, and in 2020 you can see the rate of erosion that's taken place over the last 3 years, but in particular this has accelerated, I think, in the last sort of 6 months, and this is information that we've had from the oystermen, that's the word. But you can see on top of that, I'll just go back to it, you can see on top of that quite thick sediments that are laid down on top of quite fragile brushwood structures. All that has now been stripped away and it's exposed the remains. There we have the timbers when they were kind of originally found, from the same position. Again, 2018, this is after they were lifted, but you can see a relatively sort of stable condition. And then 2020, a couple of weeks ago, this is the state of play now. And this is the kind of stuff that's revealed. It's all really very fragile brushwood in this case, but contains a lot of data. And the opportunity to record that is moving away from us quite quickly. It's not only happening offshore, those remains about sort of 800 metres off the shoreline. It's actually happening onshore as well. These pictures were sent to me by a volunteer last week. This is a picture taken from, again, 2017, which is a large, I think, oak upright with a bit of what looks like sort of fence coming out. And then last week after the storms, it's taken from a different angle, I know. But you can see this is when the sea kind of stops. So these are the exposures that have taken place recently. It's a huge amount of the beachline that's been rocked back by the sea, and it's exposed, again, considerably more of that feature, all of which needs to be re-recorded. So, one of the points of the project, I guess, that we've been looking at is to monitor or use archaeology as a proxy for measuring climate change, in particular sea level change and rates of erosion. So I've finally, I think, got my brain just about around software that helps us to do this. And I'm going to try and show you here, but we've got, this is an aerial survey that was produced by one of our volunteers in 2017. Again, various points representing all the different dates of survey that we have and all the different features that we have in that area. This is the Environment Agency's LiDAR taken from 2018. And it's exactly the same spot. It's a little more zoomed out, but it's the same place. And I've had a bash at trying to model the level of rate of change, or the amount of change, the volume of material that's come off the foreshore in those two periods. And it kind of looks like this. So, I haven't put a key on that, I'm terribly sorry. But if you imagine that the blue parts of this picture are the highest parts, or the least that suffer from erosion, and the red the worst. So the red is kind of into the sea, it's into the shoreline, so we could expect perhaps more change there. But the areas that are yellow are actually the quickest changing areas in that year. And it actually marries up particularly well. You should see the dots against the yellow with all the archaeology that we see. So from this type of mapping, perhaps it's possible for us to start looking at hotspots of erosion on the foreshore. The difference in height between the blue areas and the yellow is sort of between 8 and 10 centimetres. So we may be able to identify spots on the foreshore that we can start to look at in a bit more detail and anticipate more remains coming out. And what is a relatively large site, scale on here is 200 metres. So there's an awful lot of activity going on, and we know that here is Bronze Age activity that's on trackway, but we don't have any data for any of the others quite substantial structures and features that exist there. So are we seeing an entire Bronze Age landscape being revealed, or is it many different periods? So that moves us on to kind of relative sea level indicators on Mersea Island, and that's another thing that the project is trying to concentrate on this year. By this we mean points or archaeological features that allow us to establish a high tide, a sea level, a surface at a point in time. So we have our brushwood structure here, which we know has been laid on top of the land surface, and so using our very fancy new GPS kit, we can take levels on this. We can measure the elevation of this surface, and we can understand that at this point in time, the sea level may or may not cover this feature. In this case, it didn't. So what we're looking at here is a feature that's minus 1.52 metres below current sea levels. And that's the Bronze Age mark that we have on the south shores of Mersea. So, with that in mind, we're going to move to Intrigue and Opportunity, and it's Danielle's first day on the job. Danielle's just joined us as my new colleague, a community archaeologist in the area. And here you've got a team. This is kind of a, I'm going to call it a crack rapid response team, because these guys did give up 3 days of 3 mornings, very early and cold mornings, to do and come to this site and help us to record what we found. This is just a zone in where the site is, so we're now at the eastern end of Mersea Island, and we're actually over the river now. We're here, this is Brightlingsea, and we're on this little section of land. This is called Point Clear. And here you go, here's the site. And these are all the other sites that we have on Mersea. So this is the area that I was showing you with the LiDAR, and then we have all of these other citizen sites. They're marked in the light grey. The darker grey are known Bronze Age sites, and some of that information has been taken from the HER, but also from the work that we've done. And so we've got here what we think might be similar period sites, and we'll see why that might be. So this is again another aerial image, another drone survey taken by one of our volunteers, James Cullen, who I think is watching actually. Hello, Jim. So this is an aerial survey of the site, and you can kind of see straight off the bat that there's some interesting stuff going on here. There's some interesting features that you can make out. This, what looks like kind of gravelly, shingly stuff, these are oysters. These are Gigas oysters, and they're wobblers. These are big things. And it's an oyster reef that's formed on this part of the foreshore, which will tear your boots to shreds if you walk on them. I can promise you that. But that's what's covering half the site. So it made it a little difficult to understand what was going on in the bottom right corner. But that's what the site looks like from the air. So just calling out a few sections of this site to show you. First of all, we'll go to the top here. You can make out some sections of wattled hurdle here, and some more quite extensive pieces here, and these big, like sort of very structural timbers. They're in the order of about 8-9 centimetres in diameter. All of that's set against a line of posts here. I'll bring these pictures out shortly. That's what it looks like on the ground. So again, we have our wattle exposures, and you can see here that it's definitely sat on a surface on which it's laid. It's not going to be deposited. That's where it was laid. We're going to look at this little section here on the right next. We've got another spread of these large timbers disappearing under the oyster shells, and we know that there are probably some more under there. They disappear under the silts and the mud and the oysters, but it looks like the beginnings of revealing this spread of timbers. That's what they look like as well. And then lastly, we're going to look at this whopping great circular thing. Now the X in the middle, we're not doing that, it's not treasure hunting. And that is there as a ground control point for our aerial survey, so we can tie that in to our map of the site. And this is what that feature looks like. You have a series of posts, upright posts, and in between this still exists wattle work. And it's binding those posts together in a circle, and that wattle extends for the whole circle. It's all the way around. And cleaning back a little bit, it actually extends to at least a depth of 50 centimetres under the surface. So it would appear at first glance that there is almost an entirely wattled structure still intact underneath the mud. That's what it looks like when we planned it out in our survey. So we have these 3 groups of timbers, larger structural timbers, that's what it appears to be. We have these 2 arms of another structure here, and we have the great big circular feature, about 19 metres across diameter, with some larger posts that we identified within that. And we also have here this section of what looks like a trackway. So it looks like there's a couple of different phases going on at this site. This trackway doesn't seem to bear too much relation with what's going on here. It crosses over these arms, and then we need to understand whether or not these arms are related to this feature as well. But it's actually a very intriguing site to find. Good, thank you. So, going back to what we're talking about relative sea level indicators and those trackways again, and we've actually measured the height of that trackway that runs across the site at Point Clear, and it's minus 1.50 metres below Ordnance datum, which ties in quite nicely, just, with the Bronze Age stuff that we have down on the bottom on the southern shores of Mersea Island. So we've taken samples from this, and hopefully we'll be able to get these dated by our partners at Historic England to confirm this. But it looks like the erosion is certainly revealing a landscape on both sides of the Colne estuary here, the River Colne, and whether or not that's Bronze Age, we'll look to find out. But that's kind of the important thing about Mersea that we've come to realise is the level of change that's taking place is revealing actually quite incredibly well preserved structures, but we still need to determine what they are. Just a little bit of publicity that came out on the back of the stores as well. Things get washed up on the beaches, and this Essex dad found a big bone. This is actually Bobby. His father found Bronze Age trackways that we managed to date on the island. And after seeing this, I didn't get a call from Bobby. I got a call from his father about 20 minutes later saying, "Oh, hi Oliver. Yeah, I've got a big bone." I said, "Oh, dear, and so I know Bobby, his son, he's told me you've already found it." He said, No, I've got another one. So on the same day, father and son, both oystermen, found two separate bones. They look like large pieces of whale, actually. But if anything has come out of the Citizen Project in Essex, it's that one family, father and son, are now engaged in one of the most niche competitions. I want to make mention just lastly, I have I think just a minute left. This is a project that we try to look at a different way to map this change on the foreshore through memories. This is an oral history project called Searching Mersea. This is a group of people just talking with Lawrence Northall, who works on the project, talking about various sites and memories that they've had around the foreshore. And you can go on this website, you can listen to any one of these points, and it's great. They tell you all about bits of pottery that were found, guesses at what type of date these pottery are, features, shipwrecks, all things that are now no longer on the foreshore, but through these memories and through this oral histories project, we've actually been able to map and put them onto our database. And that's something that I think we'd like to try and continue over the coming years, is to kind of continue building on stories to help us feed our explorations on the foreshore. In terms of what we're doing next, well, this is about it. We're going to continue our investigations on Point Clear to try and make more sense of that site. We're going to look at extending our walks up and down the ranks of the Colne, the eastern banks of the Colne, to see what's there, because that's never really been properly surveyed, and try to extend our own survey coverage a bit more, so we can understand more about those changes in the foreshore heights, and we can understand the erosion a little bit better. I think that's it.